Hello.
Morning.
We were kind of talking,
Yeah, not so much, but a little. So,
right, right.
yeah.
Because we have things coming up. Like we'll both be in Mansfield and trying to figure out how we're going to make that work.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, the TikTok thing just completely erased itself. No, and I was seeing apparently Spotify was having some issues playing, but on the back end it says Spotify is just fine. So I wonder what's going on there. Are you getting your lawn mowed now, Mary?
Yes, I am. I can't believe this.
Oh, they were
You
doing
just,
mine about 10 minutes ago, and I'm like, oh, I hope
yeah,
it's
doggone it.
fun. Because it's
Well, I'll just talk over it.
there we go.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and it is Woo Woo Wednesday. Um, Now, who else maybe listened to the podcast? Because it says that at least over 30 people listen. But I know, Renee, you were saying you were having a problem on Spotify. So I wonder if other people were okay. The Adventures of Marianne and Melissa. I
That's
think
pretty
these
much
ones are
true.
mostly Marianne adventures.
Yeah, right.
The most adventures I've ever had were my old house and my mom's house. Other than that, they've been kind of boring.
Well,
Well, there was a bit of time in the store
yeah.
when we had that portal. Oh, good. Amy said it played for her okay. Um, yeah, I left that part in there about your daughters. So if they ever run into Tara,
She starts off with, well,
um, let's see. Okay, and it's working okay on Apple. Um, I think we've decided if we start by 10:05, we're on time for us.
yeah, truly. Yeah, that's right. That gives everybody one last chance to, you know, warm up their coffee.
That's right. That's right. Um, and what tonight after midnight and between you got what 13 minutes on Eastern Standard to write your Law of Abundance checks.
Yeah, it is at 12:13 a.m.
Well, I guess we're not doing TikTok. It won't hold. So
So, and again, if you don't stay up that late, you can always just go ahead and write it before you go to bed. And you're
yeah,
better off writing it before than after. But, or set your clock. And it's unusual, but I checked ahead. I think next month's is really early like this too. It's usually hardly ever 2 times in a row, but it is this year. So I don't know why. Plus, the law of abundance starts too. Starts on Thursday. Actually, we're going to feel a little bit today, but it absolutely starts on Thursday and it's over on May 5th, 14th, Mother's Day.
Marianne's like roof last week, lawn this morning.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it was all snowy here yesterday. I'm surprised. I mean, we had accumulation, so
See that's why we don't go to the east side.
yeah, exactly right. And it really wasn't even that snow. What do they call it? Grapple? Those little hard balls that it's not hail, but it just, boy, when it hits your cheeks, it really stings.
I call it wannabe hail.
Yeah. Oh, that works. That works.
Um, Good choice, Joe. How was it? I was having trouble playing the podcast this morning, so I listened to the Metallica album.
Oh, that's close. Real close.
Right. Hey, Sandy. Um, Kinda. It's called When Ghosts Speak, so is the name of the podcast. And so it seems to be hit and miss. Some people are having no problems on the same platforms other people are, and on the back end, which was a couple minutes of us running, I was logging in and checking, and everything says it's fine. So, um, hopefully it's a spot. It sounds like it's mostly a Spotify thing. So, um, but thank you to everybody who came out this past Saturday. It's open.
Boy, there were a lot of people there. It was so nice to, it's so nice to see a name on this, but it's so nice to put the name and the face together.
Mhm.
So it's really nice when they said who they were and that they listened on Wednesday morning. So that was really, really nice. But yeah, there were a lot of people there. It was really nice.
Well, and I had a chuckle, right? Because people were trying to come in before we even opened again. And then, when we opened the doors, they were, coming in and like, well, isn't she here yet? And I'm like, no, it starts at 1.
Yeah.
Like, she'll be here and ready at 1. Well, doesn't she come early and set up early? Yeah. Well, wait, my
That's
wife
what,
is at
that's what I'm
1.
doing. I'm setting up so I can sell you something at 1.
um, and I'm like, but by like 3:45, like mass exodus. And I'm like, man, they honored that 4 o'clock hard, but that
Yeah.
1 o'clock, man, that's loosey goosey.
Well, if they get there early, they'll be the first ones and they don't have to wait in line.
True.
That's the way they think.
True.
So, but when everybody thinks like that, you're waiting out the door. So,
Right, right. Yeah, so it's Amazon and Google were no problem for places. It seems to be a Spotify. What other ways are there to be here besides Facebook? So either of our YouTubes, Marianne Winkowski or Goddess Elite. And if you're on Twitch, Goddess Elite. You can find us on all the things. We were going to be on TikTok this morning, but TikTok seems to be having issues. So it is shuffled to the side. No TikTok. But yeah, and then the next time you're in person will be the Mansfield prison. We both will be, but that's one thing we were discussing too. We won't be next to one another.
right.
So we're
Well,
figuring.
I'll be out here in Concord on the 6th of May.
Mm,
So, but that I think is almost full. So,
yeah. Um, Brooke, she's like 10:05 is almost early.
yeah, almost.
Yeah, it does kind of sound like giant bumblebees. Your little lawnmowers going by.
It's farther away now. So I think they're done from around the house.
Yeah, so maybe it's really called sleet and not want to be hail.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the one weather person calls it grapple. And I just heard that this year, that word used, grapple. And it's sort of like rain, sleet, hail, tiny little white little balls that bounce everywhere.
Yeah. Hello in Solon. iHeartRadio was good. So it seems to be a Spotify issue. So
Yeah.
um let's see. But yeah, it was good seeing everybody. And it's nice to have faces to go with some of the names. And
No, I didn't mean that at all. The Mercury retrograde starts tomorrow, the 20th, and it goes to May 14th. And tomorrow is also the law of abundance, but Eastern time is 12:13 a.m., which is a hard one to do. But they both start tomorrow, or they're both tomorrow, the law of abundance and Mercury retrograde. Yep.
oh, so
And on a lot of the calendars, it shows the new moon on the 19th, but I think they show it on that because it's so early into the
next month.
13 minutes that they put it on the, on the 19th, but it's really the 20th.
Let's see. Yes, Sandy heard it referred to as grapple too. Karen's like, why didn't you just spend the night at the store?
Yeah, seriously. You want to know the bad part? There'd probably be people there.
There would. And I've had customers ask, like, could they book a private like sleepover in the store? They think it would be so great. And I'm like, no, because I don't want to sleep here too.
Well, no, and the store is protected. I
Well,
mean,
the
it's
whole
not like
sleeping with the
something couldn't
crystals stuff.
start up, but,
Yeah, no,
no.
they just wanna sleep with all the crystals.
Oh,
And I'm
yay.
like,
Okay, then.
"What?" Let's see. There is an eclipse coming up too. Is that today or tomorrow?
It is today or tomorrow. It is a solar eclipse tomorrow, too. And on the next new moon or full moon, it's a lunar eclipse on the 5th of May. So we have two eclipses. Oh, this is going to be ghost on steroids. Well, maybe not so bad with the law of abundance or with the retrograde. Might be a little calmer.
So Mercury retrograde calms them, or
Well,
it
between
actually
the two eclipses, because we have the retrograde and two eclipses at the same time. So that could it could go one way or the other.
right.
I'm hoping for the other.
Yeah, so much going on up in that sky, you're right.
Hmm.
Um, why might new moons affect people more than full moons?
The full moons affect people and earthbound spirits more than the new moon. The new moon, the thing with the new moon is that that's the day to write your law of abundance. So and they more are active that day and the next, but not like a new moon, a full moon. They are definitely active the whole week before a full moon.
Mm, let's see. And don't forget the aliens. They might be going on up there too.
Yeah, no, let's leave them in peace.
Had enough of them.
Yeah.
As little foster children. Um, since you communicate with the earthbounds mentally and silently, does that mean you can also hear their thoughts?
I don't think so. I only can hear when they talk. So I can't read their mind, which is probably a good thing. So,
Well, hello, Firestone Rock Syndrome. Good morning. Full moon affects little kids. I am a teacher, and whenever there is a full moon, they are nuts.
yeah, well, most of them are born on a full moon too, so that just goes right along with it.
You always hear full moons affect like ERs, hospitals,
Births,
Uh,
everything, yeah.
I never realized like it was also a thing for schools and teachers.
Oh, well, I think what it is, I don't know if it's atmospheric change. I don't know what it is, but the energy is just so different during those two phases of the moon. And then again, you throw an eclipse in that, and it's like just add to the pot. Just
Right.
keep stirring there. So
Uh, Sandy's like always trouble sleeping during the
yeah,
new moons. Now I just can't sleep.
yeah, that's a lot of people have that problem during new and full moons.
Like it calls out the crazy inside of you.
Well, you feel like you're crazy when you're up 2 o'clock in the morning and looking at the same LNA, Law and Order over and over again.
Right. So I'm assuming Firestone must be elementary. So I wonder if it calms down a little bit into middle and high school, maybe. Do they?
Maybe, well, they've got more on their mind than, a 7, 8, 10-year-old.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so that's probably part of it.
Yeah, kindergarten. Um, let me tell you, teachers are saints. There's no way I could ever.
Honest to God. And I'm sorry, but I think most parents treat them as glorified babysitters, which is disgusting. Truly.
His wife teaches middle school and says that they're still nuts then.
Well, middle school kids are nuts anyway, let alone there's a moon or not.
Okay, yeah, he does K through 5 and
Yeah.
does middle school. See, and that's one thing too. Like a couple of my facilitators in school are teachers by day,
Yes.
and then they do this on the side, and the frustration and the stuff that they have to deal with. And the one lady, at the end of last year, and she's teaches high school, there were 2 or 3 young men who didn't like the fact that they were getting bad grades, and the one went so far as to write out a list, gathered weapons, and it freaked one of the other friends out enough that he came and warned the teacher. And did you know the school was just like, that's not real, that's not really a threat? Because nothing actually happened.
So it's like a stalker. They can't do anything to stop the stalker till he hurts you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, call us when it's over. Well, what's the to protect. Where does that come in? Isn't that part of their oath that they take to protect?
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. But as far as teachers go, I don't know. Back in the day, beside their rosaries on their belt, they also had a ruler on their belt, the nuns. And, everybody joked, oh, you go to Catholic school and you get beat all the time by the nuns. But doggone it, we didn't talk back and act like the kids do nowadays. That's for sure. I
Hmm.
mean, yeah, maybe it was from one extreme to the other, but there's got to be a happy medium somewhere.
Right. Yeah. The system, especially these older school systems, do not function as they should to protect the
No,
students or the teachers.
no, they really don't.
They do. They are
Yeah,
very appreciated, need more pay.
that's right. And I agree 100%. Absolutely. Yep.
Oh, good. The podcast did work well on iHeartRadio. So it seems like it was a Spotify and maybe even Spotty on Spotify that the episodes were having an issue. Um, oh, hello. Our friend was also out. Had me sign the back of her Jack Skellington shadow box. That was fun. And hopefully the stones are helping your grandson there. Julie's like, I worked in the ER and there's something to the full moon. That and County Fest at the fairgrounds. I think they are rocks at the sky, but must admit the full moon on night shift is crazy.
Yeah, like I said, nurse hospitals, it's just amazing. And it's really funny because, yes, I know I don't touch or use a computer, but if you put in if you put in, I was born on May 10th in Cleveland at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Where was the moon positioned that day? You can find out just by asking your computer if you or your husband or your kids were actually born on a full moon or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that could account for a whole lot. I mean, I'm not saying they're growing fangs and they have hairy palms, but you never know. So,
Right. I agree. Firestone was saying how the kids have rights, the parents have rights, but the teachers don't
have
really.
any rights? No, they don't. No, they don't.
Some nuns are criminals.
Yeah, no, believe me. Yes, I agree with you because there's elements in anything across the board. There's good and bad.
Mhm.
Everything has got somebody that's nasty and somebody that's really good. And that includes nuns and priests and anybody.
Right. Well, I didn't realize, and maybe City, you've told us and I have forgotten, but City's also a teacher. So it's not even
Yeah.
just an America thing. So even across.
No, and this point where they have to go out and buy supplies for their classroom at the beginning of the year, that's
Mhm,
ridiculous.
mhm.
I mean, why are we paying taxes? And it was my choice to send my children, my girls, to private school, but I still pay taxes for regular school. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, I hope you have a good, peaceful day at work with your fourth grade.
Yes,
So, but thank you for lurking and joining us.
yes. Have a good day.
We do this every Wednesday, so feel free to come hang out with us. Um, let's see. Um, catch up, make sure I'm not missing any questions and comments. So new friends coming in. Marianne was the inspiration and the consultant for the TV show The Ghost Whisperer. So if you have any questions about the show or Earthbound Spirits negative, feel free to ask. Renee is like, I had weird, vivid dreams last night, and we have the new moon today. So do you find that people
Yes,
still
and
have?
she's right. With her time zone, it is today for her new moon. Depending the farther you go west, it'll be today that you do your new moon.
You don't have to stay up past midnight in that 13.
That's right. You got that. You got it right before, so that's good.
Right.
But no, that's true too. During these phases of the moon, sometimes the dreams can be really bizarre. I mean, totally bizarre. And that affects that. It somehow just affects everything. You know what? I don't know. And I suppose somebody's going to tell me what's the percentage of us being water? It's ridiculous amount. Okay, look it up. There you go.
Where's that?
I'm going to guess 70%. I'm sure I'm totally off.
I told you he's not allowed to have today off. We need trivia. And I said, what if we have trivia? Here's our
Well,
trivia.
there you go. And now he's doing, I don't know, whatever. But I think that I'm guessing 70%. Now, think about this. The moon is what affects tides. Oh, 60%. Thank you, Brooke. I wasn't off that much. Great. Okay. Oh, Sister Mary Altarcloth would be very proud of me. So anyway, so they had, but think about it. If you're 60% water and the moon with the tides, water in and out, think about it. It's going to affect us. That's why, baby, that's why women go into labor. Their water breaks and they have a kid during a full moon. But it affects, full moons affect everybody.
Well, I mean, the moon affects the water tides and stuff. So there is that pull. And that's one of the science facts that, the facilitators, friends who are all into astrology love to throw at me. They're like, well, if you don't really buy into a whole lot of it, what about this? What about this? And I'm like, that's like apples to oranges versus like how you live your life. Like,
astrology, I almost consider that a roadmap. They are telling you, and it can't be disputed. They're looking at your time you were born and your rising sign and your birth sign, and it's already mapped where all those planets are going to be tomorrow or next year or 3 years from now. So that tells me that if they're a good astrologer, they're going to be able to give you a roadmap. And if you do nothing, this is the trail or the road you're going to be on. But by giving you choices, you can change it. But again, that's your choice. And that's why I think astrology is actually pretty accurate because of all the math. But, that's seriously the only thing that I ever had done. No, that's not true. I had numerology done once too, because I figured if astrology was math, so was numerology. And it was pretty good too. So
let's see. Melanie asks, does the new moon affect pets?
Yeah, it affects anybody that's got blood flowing in their veins. So, yep, that includes cats, dogs, and everything in between.
Now, are you aware of any significance of a cross breaking in half?
I do not. I've never even heard if that's something that's.
And part of me, I'm like, maybe more content, like what was going on?
Yeah, I mean,
was it a plaque? Was it?
Right. I mean, there's all kinds of crosses, so they're made out of different mediums. So, but I don't know. I mean, I've seen people put them upside down, and I've seen people, stick them in the ground and do all kinds of things with crosses, but I don't know any significance of one breaking.
Margie. And I forgot that Humira was a police officer. It's like retired police officer with 38 years of service. He will tell you what he would do with full moons.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. He's right.
That's a good point, Brooke. Astrology is a wonderful tool, but you can misuse a tool.
Exactly. And that's with anything.
Let's see. Here's a good question. I don't think anybody's ever asked this in regards to the moon phase. I met a new guy yesterday. We exchanged numbers. Should I avoid him until the sky is done with its thing tomorrow? And also, what about during retrograde?
Well, you're just going to go out with him. I mean, I wouldn't sign a prenup, deal before Mother's Day or something like that, or buy a car with them or a house with them or something. But, just, keep it up and light and, see where it goes. But I don't think the retrograde would have, I mean, Mercury retrograde affects communication. So maybe that would be a little bit tricky if you were having a serious conversation about something. Listen closely to make sure you don't misunderstand. That would be the important thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Sarah, which I'm catching up. So if you've already asked down below, I'll get to it, but you absolutely can. Karen's like, I'm scared of nuns. My Catholic school teacher in first grade yelled at me a lot.
Well, like I said, now you don't even tell. They're stealth now. I mean, they don't even wear hardly any of them wear a cross around their neck. So they're real sneaky now.
Walking around in plain clothes. And
That's right. That's exactly right.
Lachelle works at St. John's, and they're starting to allow vendors to come back in. And I have been there before. And, she's like, you got to behave. She's like, these nuns, man, they're ninja. You won't know it's a nun. Watch what you.
No, you have no idea. I mean, they're like stealth. They're all of a sudden they're there. And
Right.
they hear everything. So I think they're born with hearing aids in so that they can amplify it and hear stuff in the next room over. So
Right. um, let's see. Now, like my mom went through Catholic school up until like high school, I think it was, and she had skipped a grade. So when she was in ninth grade, she was really eighth. And so to take her out of Catholic school from like kindergarten through and then throw her in public high school, like she's like, they were joking about so many things that I had no idea what they meant.
yeah, no, that's the truth too. In Wayne County, there was no Catholic. It was only grade school that was Catholic. So the girls went to Catholic grade school, but then when they went to junior high, they had to go to the public school. And it was a big shock. Truly. And this is years ago. I mean, it's not like now. So yeah, it is totally different.
Yeah. One time a kid asked City, ghosts aren't real, right? It's like, I didn't know what to say. How do you address that as a teacher? Like, Marian, if you were a teacher in a school and a kid asked you, like, what is your politically correct, save your job answer?
I think I would ask a question. Do you believe in angels? And 99% of kids are going to say yes. And it's like, well, good. A ghost is like your ghost is your guardian angel, and people call them ghosts. To a certain age, till they're 10, 11, that's where I would go. After that, I would depend on their maturity, how much more I would tell them.
Defining the difference between the two.
That's right.
Trinette says, I believe my husband has vivid dreams, more like premonitions or visits with past family and friends, but the one he has with his dad never faces him. His dad's back is always turned.
I think your husband needs to say, Dad, look at me the next time he has a dream with him, and have his dad turn around and talk to him, because his father will talk to him. But unfortunately, it's the person that's having the dream that has to start the conversation. They're not going to start it until you say, hi, or Mom, is that you? Or gee, Grandma, is that you? Or something like that. So you've got to start it. So maybe if he says, hey, Dad, turn around, I want to talk to you, see if that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Well, while we wait for a few more questions to come in, and I hope, Sarah, you share with us, hon, we have some pictures that we've got one picture from Saturday, and then we've had a few others that were sent in. So I will show this one first because I think it's a pretty easy, and we couldn't really get it to flip without distorting the picture. But
okay, well, picture the kitty laying on its side,
yeah,
so this is the bottom. You can see the chairs. Think about the chairs the right way they should be, and that little dog that's right on that cat is the little dog that died, and they were such buds. And he was just there visiting his buddy before he went to the light. But that is a really good picture of a pet animal, a pet dog
coming back to visit.
Mm-hmm.
This next one, and I'll show two parts of it. One is the full screenshot that they sent me, and then the other one where I tried to zoom in.
Okay.
So the question was, if there was a ghost towards the front of the truck. So this was the original they sent me. I tried to get closer without it distorting too much, and I don't know if that made it easier or worse for you, Marianne.
Well, I'll tell you, that almost looks like a little tornado. And that is how some people see earthbound spirits, as a little tornado. So I'm going to say that that is probably an earthbound ghost that is probably having a real laugh at whatever why that truck is stuck. But that's what I'm thinking, that's a ghost. That's probably an earthbound spirit.
So, so hopefully, Amanda, you're on with us today and got to hear your answer. Otherwise, it'll be on replay on YouTube.
Yeah, it'll be there.
And now the next few are from Kathy, local lady, and this picture in itself is just really pretty. And then I have a blow up
Oh
of
yeah, that's pretty.
the blue orb. She was just wondering what that might be.
A blue orb. That's exactly what that is. Just a blue orb. Yeah, that's somebody that crossed over and is visiting.
Going on a walk.
And it's even got a design in the middle. So for sure, that's what that is.
That bright, vibrant blue. I just made a new word, bright. That's a new word.
Yeah, there you go.
I have spoken.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a nice one. That's a good one.
Now, the next two are from Kipton on a visit out there, and I'm waiting to hear back on that one. Now, the metro park in that area is now like you got to go through the town, and I'm like, since when?
Since you moved, that's why.
Yeah.
Right.
So now the question is the blue lights. There is nothing in town that gives off blue lights. So there was this picture, and it almost looks like, right, like you were at a concert. You know how they'll have like those images going on the back end, so
Yeah.
screens, but there's nothing in town that gives off blue lights whatsoever. There was this one and that one, and you can see it's partially on the back of, I'm pretty sure that's Greg, of the person there. But I'm like, were there cops going through town? And she's like, no. I'm like, no emergency vehicle, no somebody with a obnoxiously bright neons on a car or truck, or she's like, no, there was like no traffic in
Gosh,
the
I don't know what that could be because it fills the whole wall.
right.
Now, this is curious. You can't see me pointing. Okay, look at the wall. Oh God, how to describe it? Look at the porch. There's the white light, and then you see a black window.
Mm-hmm.
Then next to that black window, you see like a little shadow with a little dot of a square white.
Mm-hmm.
Right next to that, is that a shadow person?
That is a very good question.
And I'm thinking it is.
So, and in this town, this is actually catty corner across the street from my old house. So when we get this,
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Is that a building that somebody owns or lives in, or why are there lights on inside that place?
so that particular building right there is abandoned. It is not in use. It's part of an old granary and part of the old original railroad.
So why are there lights on the inside and at the top of that building?
Up at the tippy top, there shouldn't be.
Well, you can see it. It looks like it's shining through blinds.
Mm-hmm. Because the building to the far right with the squares is like the old silo.
Silo, yeah, that's what I figured.
But
now there's something going on in that barn, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the connection between the silo and the barn? What's that little house with the black window in it? What is that?
That was just part of that's like one long type of building that keeps going because it was all part of the train.
Connects it. Okay. Yeah. No, that. Oh, I hope we can do the walk there. That'll be interesting because I'm pretty sure that that's exactly what that is.
Yeah. See, you can see a bigger how it's all connected. Now,
Now look, he's still there in that picture too.
mhm,
And then that wall isn't all blue behind him there.
right.
Yeah, that's
So,
and he's a pretty good size, let me tell you. Huh.
so I'm waiting to hear back now from the town. And part
Okay.
of me is like, we're just going to show up, screw 'em. Because technically that house is still in my name, so I live there.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Uh,
And you're just having a party.
That's right. Um, but yeah, those were the pictures that we've had ready to go. So if anybody has pictures, feel free to send them in. And depending on the length of video and the format of the video, sometimes I can format them down and show them. But back to our questions. Let me scroll and catch up. So I know Sarah put her question in. Here we go. It says, I'm struggling to navigate an ability that I have to connect with entities/spirits and draw clear boundaries. My recent experience, long story short, my parents have had a lot of paranormal activity in the specific area of their home for decades. Recently, I tried to open myself up to whatever is going on there, and it felt like a mistake. I disassociated. I was nauseous and I had to leave. It was rather awful. They cleansed the space before, but it feels like they need to do it regularly.
I agree. That's something that needs to be done regularly. And you are obviously not protecting yourself. Because if that made you sick or feel that way, then you are not protected one little bit. And you don't want to get somebody in your space all the time. So be very, 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 very careful. I think it's interesting when people say there's a corner of the room that's active, or it's down the basement, the ghost lives in the basement. That is the most untrue statement that you can make. You may feel it most in that room, but a ghost is not going to sit in a basement waiting for somebody to come downstairs or hang out in one corner of a bedroom that nobody uses. So they're going to be wherever the live people are because they need the energy. However, you may feel it more in certain parts of the house for whatever reason.
Mhm.
But you really need to protect yourself. And if you're opening yourself up like that, if you're not protected, you are asking for trouble.
Now, should she, because like her follow-up is like how to be open with protecting. So what way should she be protecting herself while doing this?
Okay, well, a quinseed obviously is the beat all to protect you. That will do it 100%. And at some point, your parents' home may have to be cleared and then protected. Because if you're going to be doing this stuff in your parents' house, you don't know what you're going to be calling in there. So it needs to be protected if that's the area you're going to be using to do this. So it's a whole thing of protection. I mean, you can go ahead and smudge the parents' house every 10 or 12 days, but I'm talking every closet, every crawl space, every attic, the garage that's connected. It's a job, it's a commitment. So it's pretty much what you want to do.
Um, White lighting herself, that would be helpful too. Like,
That would be helpful, but it's really hard. You know, okay, I'm getting out of the car, so I'll put white light around myself. Then you walk up to the door, you knock on the door, and you hit yourself with a little bit of white light again. And then they open the door, and then you spot the ghost, and you walk in, and that's the last time you put white light on because now you're working. You're talking to the ghost, you're talking to the people, you're trying to explain what's going on. My protection is the last thing I think about at that point, which is what most people, that's why they get in trouble. So if you have a quinseed on, you don't have to worry about it.
and you all the peoples. Where's my banner for that? MarianWinkowski.com. I have to make a new banner. Let's see. The Council of Melissa has spoken. Fright it is. My brain works faster than my mouth sometimes. If everyone had a quinseed, what would happen to the earthbound spirits?
Well, they would go someplace where there were no quinseeds. I don't know. But I don't think I wouldn't, in a million years, I wouldn't have enough quince seeds that are energized the right way to give to people. So it's just, if you're lucky enough to get one.
Let's see. Um, Vicky says, I never know I am dreaming. So when I see a loved one, I don't talk or ask questions. Wish I had the realization while asleep so I could start a conversation. Any ideas? I do have a dream bag, though my washer dryer nearly ruined it by accidentally leaving it in the pillowcase.
Well, it still works, even though it goes through the washer and dryer, so you don't have to worry about that. And are you keeping like a pencil or a pen and a pad by the table, if or in the bathroom if you get up to use the bathroom? Write a couple words down so that it'll jog your memory when you get up in the morning. Um, and but keep using the mugwort. That really will help you. And okay, again, say you dreamt of mom last night and you never started to talk to her. Tonight before you fall asleep, say, tonight I'm going to talk to mom. Tonight mom's going to be in my dreams. Tonight mom's going to be in my dreams. I'm going to talk to her. Just keep repeating that to yourself. She will come in your dreams and you will be able to talk to her. And once you do it the first time, it's a piece of cake after that.
Let's see. Yeah. Go ahead and ask questions. We like questions. That helps conversation keep going, or sometimes I start rambling. Let's see. Well, you know what? You can always email the picture into me and we can show it. Now, MarianneWinkowski.com is where you can get the blessed quince seeds. Because if I've noticed people are starting to just sell them online now, and they're not quite the same.
They are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I started investigating that when people were coming and were like, "Well, I just ordered one online." I'm like, "Oh, well, great. You know, you should have gotten something from Marianne with it." And they're like, "Oh no, I just found it." You know, and I'm like, "Oh, interesting." So,
That's what people do in the fall. A quince is a cross between a pear and an apple, and they come out in the fall like pears and apples. And so people will go to the grocery store and they'll buy a quince and they'll crack it open and take out all the seeds and then call me up 3 months later and say, "You're crazy. These seeds don't work." Yeah, you're right. They don't work because they didn't get energized from my relatives in Italy. So, and you're not going to eat that quince because it tastes absolutely terrible. So,
you said they're best for baking, right? Baking and cooking, not.
jam or jelly, but like I said, it's like 5 pounds of sugar and 1 quince. That's how much you have to use.
Oh, so you need the amount of sugar you need for a McDonald's iced tea. Got it.
That's right, pretty much.
So Julie was with Kathy that night out in Kipton, and she said it was a dark night and you could only see that through the picture.
Okay. Yeah, I'll bet you that's exactly what that was.
You know, and like I used to go walking on that bike path all the time, like at night, right? And when you start getting away from town and you're away from the traffic, like you could almost always hear a set of footsteps kind of.
Following you.
Yeah, you stop walking, you'd hear like 1, 2, and then stop. And the first couple times it was a little freaky. After that, then you're kind of like, well, how fast can you walk? How fast can you run? Like, can you keep up?
Yeah, right.
is my mentality.
Yeah, come on, bud. Let's
Right.
go. Yeah.
All right. Not so much during the day. I wouldn't hear because I would go do like 5Ks in the morning when I was, doing better with fitness, but I never really heard it. And I would try to listen because, they're out all the time, not just at night. Right. But I
Right.
never noticed it during the day. It was more at night.
Well, night dusk creeps people out anyway. They're always looking in shadows and who's hiding behind the bush. So it just makes you more aware that time of day than it does when the sun's coming up in the morning.
Right. If a person dies and wants to stay, like what they say in the podcast, wouldn't you be able to do the same thing if you crossed over? Do you mean like staying around friends and family? What kind of things? because they pretty much can, but then they're causing their loved ones to be sick and tired by draining them.
Right. That's why most houses that I do, the people do not know who the ghost is because your relatives wouldn't do this to you. So, yeah, you can stay earthbound and visit with them for a day or two so you don't make them sick. But why would you do that when you go to the light and visit them all the time and not cause any problems?
Right. And you get to be a cool looking, pretty orb,
That's right. That's exactly right.
not the scary shadow thing,
That's right.
or you might see them. Oh, good point, Renee. To remember dreams, you can also record them on your phone audibly, as I did this morning, so I could go back to sleep quickly.
Oh,
That could work really well.
yeah. See, that's something I wouldn't even think of because I couldn't do it. So.
Um, yeah, yeah. She wears her Quincy 24 hours. Mine stays on all the time too.
Yeah.
Do I know what happened to the portal in my old house? There wasn't really a portal in the house. There was a portal at the store for a short period of time.
Right.
And,
There was none in your house. You had everything else, but you didn't have that. You had a little bit of everything except that.
yeah. I need to sit down and chronicle.
Yes, you do.
All the stuff, and that could be its own podcast or three.
Yes, it could.
But the house, and funny enough, the guy's last name was Bates.
Oh,
So
jeez.
he made the joke reference about Bates in women.
Oh,
You don't remember that?
no, I don't.
Yeah.
Truly, when I walk out, I leave it. I just, unless it really stood out in my mind, I just don't remember.
Hey, Addie. Ashley, Addie. Yeah. He and he was buried like right on the edge of town, and went and found him and gave him some finger signals. Mainly because he was the one who was throwing the poor cat down the stairs and shutting him in the, and poor Sithy was licking himself bald out of like nervousness because of this guy.
I don't understand it. If you're alive and you don't like dogs or cats, you don't have any because you don't like them. And if you get invited to somebody's house that has one, if the person that invited you is a good host, they will lock the dog or the cat up if you don't like dogs or cats. But once you're dead, don't go torturing cats and dogs. What's wrong with you? You're a sick person, truly, if you do that, whether you're alive or dead.
Yeah. Well, and I think, about the time that was really picking up, like we were separating the divorce. But before then, things would happen. I'm like, darn kids, darn husband, darn whatever. And it was easy for me to keep
blaming it on somebody else, right?
Not paying attention to it. And so then, it's just me and the cat because, the ex is gone. My son was visiting his dad in another state. So it's literally me and the cat. And there's no way I'm putting poor Sith down, and locking him in the basement. And like now I can't ignore it. Right.
Right.
So, to get my attention, I guess, like that severe, because everything else I'm like, I was tired. I was busy. I was rushed. I was, I obviously did that. But I wouldn't do that.
But you do what a lot of people do. They'll hear footsteps or they'll hear a door bang. And you can think of 16 different things that could have made that noise. And one of them is never a ghost.
Right. Well, and it's an old house from the 1850s, used to be a funeral house, right? So it settles, it creaks, it does all sorts of things. It becomes background noise. Yeah. I ignored 99.999%. Every now and then something would happen that I'm like, oh, well, we are not going to go find out what that was. We're just going to leave that alone and not give it any.
And that's what some people, if I don't think about it, it's not happening. Wrong. It's still happening.
I don't have time for you.
Wrong.
Yeah. I'm going to have to like write all these down. Let's see. Yeah, I agree. And that's Marianne, kids and animals jump to your long wait list.
So they go right to the top of the list. Absolutely.
Let's See, finger signals is the same salute Clarence gave us.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly the same kind of sign language that we were getting.
Right. We weren't getting the nice to see you.
No,
Um, Sarah, I wonder if my parents have a portal show up on their Ring camera. Sarah, yeah, send us videos. It would be fun to see.
Now, orbs are always good ones, so don't look for that. Look for more of like a flash of lightning or fog or a little white tornado-y type thing. That's how you'll pick it up too on a camera or video. Orbs are good. And if there's 3 adults living in that house, there's going to be at least 35 or 40 spirit guides in that house. So that orb could be any one of them or your guardian angel. So, but that doesn't mean that's somebody bad, but it could have a portal. But again, your parents or somebody would have to make a phone call from that house to see if there's, or come on Zoom. Let's see what's going on there.
That'd be interesting. So new friends, I almost said portals. Orbs are good. You want orbs. Those are your people that have crossed over that are helpful. It's all those other funky things that you kind of want to be on the lookout for to get rid of.
Right.
When I was little, I seen a white pillow light kind of look like cloud floating outside my room. What might that have been?
That could be iffy because a lot of times orbs that are in clouds change shapes pretty easy because the clouds move or the earth is moving and they're standing still. I'm not exactly sure which, but however, they change. So I would almost have to look at it to see if it was an orb that was just, fading out or what it was.
Karen's like, why would you want to stay here earthbound when you can zip back and forth anytime?
That's exactly right. But some people, their frame of mind tells them stay, stay, stay.
Let's see. Let's catch up here. Marianne did get him to go into the light, and he didn't resist too hard. He had to make his stupid little jokes because he liked to hang out upstairs in the bedroom. And before I got the longer chain, like I'd wake up with like scratches and stuff. So
yeah,
he was a nuisance. But you did get him to cross over, and the house is seated up. Let's see. Do people often have cross family members, ancestors around them that they never met, just like checking out to see how the line's going?
I believe that a lot of them come back and forth. And I think from what people have told me, when they got used to talking to their loved ones in dreams, that they started having great and great greats and great great greats show up and introduce themselves in dreams. So yeah, I think lineage of some families is very important to some of them, and they do keep an eye on it. Keep the pure family. Don't want anybody in there that shouldn't be in there. Of course, in this day and age, that's probably really hard to do anymore. But back in the day, especially when people first came over from Europe and settled in America, you marry your own type, you stay with your own type. My grandmother, the one that taught me that did this, you have no idea. She had 4 children and not one of her children married an Italian. You have no idea how upset she was. No idea. And she didn't like any of her son-in-laws or daughter-in-laws.
Probably because they weren't Italian, right?
You got that right. That's exactly right.
They've been saints and great people, but
that's right.
Do you have any advice or thoughts on starting an interview process a few days before Mercury retrograde? The next steps will happen right in the middle of it.
Boy.
Are you going to say reschedule?
Yeah, I got to tell you, I and Tara my daughter have just been going through this because she just changed jobs. And she didn't know when the interviews were coming up for the new place. And boy, we kept an eye on this Mercury retrograde. And perfect. She got offered it before it hit and everything, so it went just fine. But I mean, if it can't be avoided, just read everything 2 and 3 times to make sure that it's right. Um, Give yourself count to 3 before you answer a question. If it's a verbal question, type thing, she had to go before a panel of people, and the person that was going to be her boss, they were all shooting questions at her. If this was a Mercury retrograde when she had to do that, she would have wanted to say, this is the question, they ask it, and then you take 3 beats. 1, 2, 3. Think before you talk, even if you know the answer, because it may not come out that way. So just be really, if it was a house you were buying, I'd say put it off until the Mercury retrograde is over. But a job, just really think before you go into it.
Now, do you believe in skinwalkers?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, we might have to table that for next week. Catch you up on it and answer that. And where's my
Isn't there something on TV called that now?
Skinwalker Ranch? I know.
Oh, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah. Coins. We may have to go into this next week and get Marianne up on the lore and see if she's ran into any of those. That could be a podcast episode, maybe, if you have ran into one. Yeah.
Would I know it? Would I know it if I ran into it?
You might. They're like shapeshifters, and I think they're more of a native type lore.
Oh, okay.
And I do believe it's on Travel Channel, which they need to just rename the Travel Channel because it's all like paranormal shows anymore. But let's see. And if you decorate graves, do you believe in that the soul?
Yes, they come and check out their graves because sometimes they'll complain that nobody's taking care of it. So yeah, some of them swoop by and see if you're taking care of it. Absolutely. They'll go check it out on the holidays, their birthdays, or if they happen to be around in the house when they hear you saying to somebody, I'm going to go check mom and dad's grave, they'll probably take a ride over with you. So yeah, no, they check it and they watch to see if you take care of it, of course.
Okay, it's on the History Channel. I thought it was Travel.
I don't.
Yeah, they're like a shapeshifter type thing, not friendly at all.
Well, I know shapeshifters do exist. To my knowledge, I've never run across one, but I mean, actually, I think that somebody first told me about shapeshifters probably about 40 years ago, and I didn't believe it because I thought, really? How could somebody do that? But I think shapeshifters really do exist. So,
well, I mean, you've already vouched for what fairies. You kind of think Bigfoot's a thing,
right? So why not? I mean, I don't know.
I like to believe that most folklore
has some truth to it
somewhere, because where would the stories?
That's right. And let's face it, people have great imaginations, but how could they come up with that stuff? I don't understand.
Yeah. So since it's a little after 11, you've heard us reference Zoom. So for new friends, Marianne offers Zoom twice a month, once on a Friday, once on a Monday, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you feel or suspect that you might have paranormal activity in your house, mainly ghosts, a portal, if you think you might have negative energy or curse on you, you can join us on the Zoom. It's $20. You get your questions answered. Everybody gets to ask 2 questions. We ask that you be mindful of the time because other people pay to be there too. It is limited. I'm only there long enough to call names and check people in. But this is how you can find out for certain. And but there's a couple of rules. You must be in the building you have the question about, because that's where she's going to see you. So even if you sit in front of a white blank wall, she's still going to be able to see what's going on in there. But you just have to be in the building. No one under 18. So don't let the little ones be poking around because they don't need to hear sometimes what's going on either in their house or other people's house, where we're not trying to scare children. Please be mindful of the start time and the time zone that you might be in versus us. We love friends from everywhere, but if you're 8 hours ahead or behind or what have you, like, we need you on when we're going. Brooke, what am I forgetting? She's like, that's what you forgot.
Last time she knew.
Yeah. Marian, do you have any relatives in Nashville?
In Nashville? No, I do not. I've been there a number of times, but I don't have any relatives there.
I need, whoop, it jumped. I need to get some protection beforehand. Yeah.
Yes, you're right. You really do. It sounds like you're getting pretty close to getting in trouble. So
Yeah.
you really need to do something. Go to my website and just get a charm.
Yeah, because you even got like the little ones that are just a few bucks. Like
That's right. I mean, they're varied prices. So, I mean, don't buy a gold one. You're going to wait 3 weeks to get it. So don't do that. And why would you pay that kind of money for a gold charm that's this big? But no, there's all kinds. Just go find one that works. I mean, that you like and wear it.
Yeah. Because do you have the zipper pulls even right now?
I do. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
those are.
I just got hold of the gal and sent her over some seeds to make some new ones. So yeah, I'll have new ones. Yeah, I'll have a whole new batch on the 6th and down at the prison. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. When you are registering, please make sure you type your email in correctly. Double check that a few times, because our scheduling system will automatically, once you hit, done and pay, it's going to send you a confirmation email to the email you typed in. If it is mistyped and it bounces back, I don't know what your email should have been to fix that for you. And don't delete it, because in that confirmation email is your Zoom link. So thank you guys. You would think I wouldn't be forgetting this after how many years of doing this. Yeah. The next one available is the 12th of May. And let me double check that, because we usually get some sign-ups. So there's 4 available for the 12th of May, which is a Friday night. And right before the live started, we opened up Monday, the 22nd. So depending on if a Friday or Monday works best for you, both are 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time starts. And you can get your questions answered. Know for certain what's going on and how to take care of it. Thank you, Vicki. Yep. We can really only answer questions about what's going on now, not what happened when you were 10.
Jeez, these people know all the answers already.
I'm like, how am I forgetting? So
does that mean they're tired of hearing this over and over and over again?
That just means they've been friends watching us for so long. They know my spiel better than I do.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
But if you are on Twitch, Marianne, we're going to do a podcast recording here in a few minutes. So if it is a very dedicated fan base, we love them. And we like when we get to see them in person, when they can come to the store, and when I can get a tour bus hearse shaped thing and get Marianne on it, we'll start driving around too. I do need to make a recording. You're right. And we'll just hit play.
Yeah.
But so give us about 15 minutes or so to.
Yeah, about 20. Yeah, about 11:15, 11:20 we'll start.
Yeah, we'll do a podcast recording. You get to hear the chatter on the sides that I normally edit out. And sometimes Marianne needs help making up the titles and stuff. So
yeah. And that might be the case with this one coming up too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never know.
Thanks for joining, everybody. And if you want to hit us for the podcast, we'll see you in 15 minutes.
Around. Yeah.
Yeah. Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
Everybody. Have a good week. Don't forget your law of abundance tomorrow.
That's right. Money, 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 money.
Right.